Hi guys, what's up? For those of you who've been here, thank you so much for your support and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Pratiksha Kaushik and I make videos on beauty, fashion and lifestyle. So welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you are here. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through my experience while traveling from India to France in the current COVID situation. Usually traveling is a very eventful experience, but currently not so much. I'm going to be talking about the entire process from checking in to post arrival, the kind of documents that are required at each step of the travel journey, and some things that you might require during the travel. Now, I would like to give a disclaimer. This was just my experience. Everyone's experiencing different things from different cities and from different places. So I'm just going to be sharing my experience. So I have divided this video into 4 parts, which is before departure, during the travel, post arrival, and some pointers to remember throughout your travel. Now, if you're traveling from India to France, all the parts of this video would be helpful to you, but if you're traveling from India to elsewhere, you can skip to whichever part you are interested in. Mostly part 1 and part 4 of this video would be helpful to you, so you can skip if you want to. To give you some specific information, I traveled from Bangalore to Paris via Delhi on the 30th of May. The situation in India doesn't look very great, and there is very limited international travel from India. So while I was traveling, I was looking for a lot of information so that my process is really smooth and I do not have to face any difficulties during the travel. Yeah, so there were some things which I did to make my process smooth, and I think this video would be helpful if you are traveling from India internationally. So if you're interested, keep on watching. So I'm going to start off with everything that's required before departure. There are some things I recommend doing before departure. First of which is to check your destination country's website. Now, it's very important to check your destination country's website because every country has different rules. Every country has different isolation rules. Every country has different travel rules. Every country has different COVID test timelines. So it's very, very important to check your destination country's website. The next thing I recommend you do before departure is check with your airlines. A day or two before your flight, make sure to call your airlines and confirm your flight timings, confirm the kind of documents they require. Because sometimes you might be all set with all the documents that are mentioned on the destination country's website, but sometimes the airlines also require some forms or some documents these days which are important to be able to track you if something goes wrong or anything of that sort. So make sure to confirm with your airlines about what are the things that are required from their end. Now, the next thing, as you might already know, is to take your COVID test. But before you take your COVID test report, again, confirm the timelines that your destination country and the airlines are looking out for. So make sure that your COVID test report is valid within the certain number of hours that your country requires. So so before departure, these are the 3 things that I highly recommend you do. Now, if you're traveling from India to France, your COVID test report has to be valid 36 hours before departure from your first flight, not your connecting flight. Or you can also have it 72 hours before, but with that you will need a rapid antigen test 24 hours before your departure time. So this is what is mentioned on the website, but again, I would suggest that you get a COVID test which is valid for 36 hours before your connecting flight timings. So if you're traveling, say, from Bangalore to Delhi and then Delhi to Paris, make sure your COVID test report is within 36 hours of your Delhi departure time. So those are all the things you need to do before departure. Now, coming to the next part, what are the documents you need before departure? So the first one is a travel certificate. Now, this certificate is available on the France website. I will leave all the links in the description box below so you can check them out. The travel certificate asks for your details like where you're residing, your name, a compelling reason to travel back to France, the kind of visa you are in, and things like that. Very general. I traveled on a student visa. I wasn't asked for my reason for travel anywhere, but I would highly recommend that you have a very strong reason to travel. The next document that's required is a sworn statement. You need a statement to show that you don't have any symptoms of COVID and you are not, you did not come in contact with someone who was tested positive in the last 14 days. So this document again is available on the France website as well, and you can download it from there. The next document that is required is your RT-PCR report, a negative RT-PCR report. Now, as I said, if you're traveling from India to France, your report has to be either 36 hours before the departure timing of your first flight, or it can be 72 hours before the departure time of your first flight with an antigen test report 24 hours before your flight. So these are the two options that you have. Now, one more point I would like to mention about your RT-PCR report is make sure to have a barcode on your RT-PCR report. A barcode is very important. Yes, they do check it. It was checked during check-in, it was checked during immigration, it was checked during arrival. So make sure to have a barcode on your RT-PCR report. Now, the next form is a passenger locator form. Now, this is not something that is mentioned on the France website. It's not something that has been asked on the France website as well, but Air India requires you to have this form. If I find a link to this form, I will leave it in the description box below, but I'll insert a picture to show you what it looks like. And I was given this at the airport. I had absolutely no idea that this is required during travel, but Air India was really helpful and they provided the document both in the flight and while checking in. But I would highly suggest that you take it with you while you're traveling if possible. I will leave a link if I can find it, but if not, just make sure to contact the airline or check with them where you can find the form and things like that, and make sure to carry it with you. Now, if you do not manage to have any of these forms, usually Air India helps you with them. The copies of these forms were provided to us by Air India. A huge shout out to them for making the travel process so smooth. But I would still suggest that you carry all the documents with you to be on the safer side. Coming to the second part of the video, what to expect during your travel. Now, I traveled from Bangalore to Paris via Delhi, which means I took a flight from Bangalore to Delhi and then from Delhi to Paris. If you're running late, make sure you have everything. Otherwise, make sure you go to the airport a little early so that you avoid any obstacles that might come your way. The check-in process at Bangalore was really smooth. They did check my visa, the validity of my visa, my passport, and my RT-PCR report. Yes, they did scan the RT-PCR report and check if it is a genuine one. And they checked all the documents, the travel certificate, the sworn statement, and the passenger locator form. So it was pretty smooth, and I was able to board the flight. Now, coming to the flight, I wasn't expecting any meal on this flight, but they did give us one meal during this flight. It was like a snack, but yes, one meal during this flight was provided. Coming to my flight from Delhi to Paris, when I landed in Delhi, my RT-PCR report was checked before I could go through immigration. And because my RT-PCR report was not 36 hours before my flight from Delhi, I had to exit the airport. I had to make sure that my RT-PCR report is valid at an Air India counter and then go through immigration, which took a longer time. And that's why I suggest that you can avoid all of this if you have a report which is valid 36 hours before your second flight. Airline staff and the staff at the airport do not have so much information because they receive information from different countries, different rules. There is a little bit of chaos. That was the whole process before immigration, but at the immigration, I was only checked for my RT-PCR report, my passport, and my visa, and it was pretty smooth. They did have a look at all the other documents as well, but I wasn't questioned as such, and then I could board the flight. Now, during both the flights, we were given a sanitizing kit, sort of, which included a face shield, a face mask, and 5 sanitizer pouches, which are about 5 ml or 2 ml each. We were given 2 meals. The flight was pretty comfortable. The flights are running at around 50% capacity. Now coming to the next part, which is the post arrival. This was the most tiring part of the entire journey, I must say. It's a very long procedure, so be mentally prepared to go through this be mentally prepared to go through this whole procedure post arrival. So make sure to like sleep in the flight, get some rest, because post arrival is a long process. The first thing you have to do after arrival is immigration. Immigration queues can be long depending on the time your flight is landing. My flight landed with I think 2 other flights, and there was a huge queue at the immigration, and immigration took more than expected. It took around 2 hours just to finish immigration. And during immigration, again, my RT-PCR report was checked, my passport, visa, and the other documents were taken a look at, although I wasn't questioned on anything. If you're coming to France post immigration, you have to mandatorily do a rapid antigen test at the airport. So you will be redirected to a barcode. Now you have to scan this barcode on your phone and fill in the form. Once you fill in that form, you will be redirected to the location where the testing is taking place. So while giving your details for giving your samples, you will have to give them details about your residence in France. You will have to give them details about where you're going to stay in France, because you need to self-isolate for 10 days. They require you to provide them with the correct address and also provide them a proof of residence here. So a mobile bill or an attestation de domicile or electricity bill. So any proof of residence will be required at this point. Once you give them all the details, you will be redirected to give your samples. Once you give your samples, you will be given a number and you will be made to wait for about 10 to 15 minutes until your results come out. You will be given a document which states your what you should be doing for the next 10 days. So the timings that you can leave the house to buy groceries and things like that. You will have all the information given to you at the airport, and then you can take your luggage and you can exit the airport. I would like to mention a few pointers that I thought were necessary during the travel. Trust me, they can make your life so much easier while traveling. There are some things that you should be carrying. First is a pen. Make sure to carry a pen at all times. Because you never know when you are given a form that you need to fill. So make sure to carry a pen.
And during COVID times, you really don't want to share your pen with others. I was kind of annoyed because a lot of people asked me for my pen and I was like, how can people not carry a pen?
Okay, 2, make sure you have a scanner on your phone. Most iPhones scan barcodes with their normal camera, but some phones do not allow that. So make sure you have an app that scans barcodes. 3, make sure to travel light. I had 2 laptops with me and it was kind of a task. Even though that's all I had, it was kind of a task because the whole process is really long. So make sure you travel light. Apart from essentials, make sure you don't carry anything in your cabin luggage. So make sure you travel light apart from your check-in luggage. 4, make sure to carry a SIM eject tool. I think it's very important. Makes your life so much easier. Last but not the least, carry your sanitizers. I have mentioned this in my other video as well, which I will leave a link to. If you want, you can watch that. But carry 2 sanitizers, one for surfaces and one for your hands. So carry a spray sanitizer so that when you're sitting somewhere, you're eating somewhere, you can make sure that your surroundings are clean at all times and are properly sanitized. That was my whole travel experience from India to France. And if you do have any other questions, leave it down in the comments below and I will be more than happy to answer them for you. If you do need details about anything, I have mentioned all the links in the description box below, and I'm also available on Instagram. You can always DM me and I will be ready to answer any of your questions. So I hope you travel safe. I hope this was helpful to you. I will see you in my next video. Till then, this is Pradiksha signing off. Bye.